we had more David Tours and more Adi Savirs in the business space, then more people will be more accepting of the fact that, okay, it's achievable. I was walking the aisles of one of the supermarkets and I realized that there was no Pacifica or Maori products on the shelves. You could find noodles and such for Asian cuisines and products, pasta, spaghetti for European products and such, but nothing of our people. My love for anime. Me seeing those, whoever the main characters are, fail over and over and over again, and then to finally triumph, that's what really hit me. Because like, if these fictional characters can do that for problems way worse than mine, then I can do it. I can get over whatever my fear I have. It's like, bro, I can do it as well. Money isn't the goal for me. Money is just a tool that allow me to get to my goal. My goal is to...
What are some of the attributes that you think that are a must have for someone who wants to get into business or start their own business?
Mandate.
Hi everyone, if you are enjoying the content and the guests that are on the podcast and you're wanting more, then please do us a favor. If you can just press the subscribe button, that would be an amazing help for us. But also, just want to mention an amazing organization called AOK, who sponsors the Mandate podcast. And so they are an organization that runs suicide prevention, intervention, and wellbeing programs. And so AOK stands for Acts of Kindness. And so you didn't need me to tell you about the alarmingly high rates of suicide in our nation, especially amongst our rangatahi, our young people, even our tane, our men. And so if you're wanting to stand in the gap and you want to be well trained and well equipped to have these courageous life supporting conversations, then please check them out, aok.nz. If you're a business, a company or a collective, or even as an individual, check them out, www.aok.nz. You could very well be that one person to help save a life. Welcome to Mandate, where we navigate fresh perspectives and nothing is off the table. Tonight the guest is from Tāmaki Makaurau. He is from South Okilani, from a place called the Promised Land 274, better known to all of us as the home of the brave, Otara. The man is a business and entrepreneur, young entrepreneur, who is the co-founder of the world's first Pacifica Māori milk brand called Drink the Milie. And so he's an incredible story to share of grit, inspiration, courage, and persistence. Please put your hands together for the man himself, Saion Angi!
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Oh, Dogo, man, thank you so much for coming out tonight, man. Appreciate your time. Obviously, you've been a busy man. And in terms of your product, and so two things. I think just to start the ball rolling, Dogo, why milk? Why dairy products? But also, how has Drink the Milie changed your life thus far in terms of who you are as a person, but also as a young entrepreneur?
Right. Well, a couple of years back, actually, I was walking the aisles of one of the supermarkets, right? And I realized as I was walking the aisle that there was no Pacifica or Maori products on the shelves. I could only find that at the morning markets in Otara or Oahu. There wasn't any accessibility for mainstream supermarkets. You know, you could find like noodles and such for Asian cuisines and products, pasta, spaghetti for European products and such, but nothing of our people. And so I thought I could change that. And so last year, me and a couple of my mates, we ended up starting a milk brand. But why we did milk was because I realized, because you know at the time I was still 50-50 whether or not getting a Pacifica or Māori product into a big supermarket could be doable. So I thought, why don't I do milk? Not only is that the hardest and most competitive category in the supermarket, but if we're able to smash that, then any other Pacifica or Māori products we bring in afterwards will be a breeze, you know. And also milk is quite easy. There's existing manufacturers for milk. There isn't any existing manufacturers for otai. You know, you have to create. You need a lot of capital to create the bloody facility and the processing line for that. So we didn't reinvent the wheel, and so that's why we chose milk. I did not come up with the name though. One of our other co-founders, Sefa, came up with the name. He's unfortunately not in the business anymore. He exited the company before we landed Woolworths early in the year. But that's essentially why we chose milk and how we got into the milk market.
Jeez. Obviously there's 20 outlets in terms of Woolworths and Countdown and so forth.
22. Yeah.
22. And so, Dogo, I was just wondering in terms of the whole ordeal, in terms of how it's changed you as a person, and is it for you something that's surreal or something like, man, this is actually happening? I knew this was going to happen from the get-go.
No, I'm not like bragging or anything, but I knew this was going to happen from the get go because this is my 8th business now. This is my 8th business. I've started 7 businesses since I was 19, and some were decent, some were okay, but they're all lessons for me, you know. And all those lessons were applied to this 8th business, and I could see the end goal for this. And everything I've learned, I applied to it, which is why we're able to scale so fast and gain this much success in a short amount of time. So, so I'd say from the get go, I've always had this.
That's cool. That's cool. And I like what you said. Obviously, people say, "Hey, this is the very first in terms of worldwide, the first Pacifica Māori milk brand." And so, in terms of, I watched something, and you and your mates were at the gym. Is that correct? At the gym, talking about doing the brand or the whole scheme of the business, or was it somewhere in terms of how it all kind of came about?
Was this an interview? Or?
I think it was one of those interviews. They said something that you guys were talking about.
I'm trying to remember which one it was.
How did the idea come about?
Oh right, yeah. So we're at there was 3 co-founders, myself, Sefa, and Eddie, and we're all gym mates, and that's how we all kind of met. And so I had suggested the idea to them, but initially the idea was supposed to be all dye. It was actually supposed to be an all dye company, but it pivoted into milk after that realization I had. And then obviously Sefa came up with the slogan. He was like, "Why don't we just chuck it on this milk product that we're gonna do, and then call it a day?" And that was last year. Yeah, last year. Yeah. But fortunately, Sefa had already made that like a slogan and a thing, which is great. And we put onto the product, and everything else was history.
That's me.
Yeah.
Before Jamin asks his question, like, why milky and not susmi or susu?
Well, I mean, first of all, it doesn't roll off the tongue. Nice.
I would have been at the gym. Okay, hey, wanna drink susu? Nah, sorry. I'll just give me some ideas for the next one. I think it's quite original, but
No, I'll keep it in mind, bro. I'll keep it in mind.
Thanks, Sus.
I'll definitely keep it in mind. It's it's for me, like, the name is just stuck now, so it's like there's not much I can do. But it's a name that I'm thankful for that Sefa had come up with. Even though he's not part of the company anymore, he does have a royalties deal. Awesome. So he's off pursuing a higher calling, which I respect deeply.
Cool.
And but he's sorted moving forward in the future financially.
Cool. Man, hopefully I can try to get on these royalties.
Oh,
let's copyright it now. Sus me. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Sorry, all good. And just speaking of co-founders, were they a part of your previous businesses as well?
Oh no.
Oh yeah. And how did you go about finding the right co-founders for this?
Well, these were my boys I was gymming with at the gym, and they believed in the vision at the time, and because I saw that hustle in them, we just connected and we thought, why don't we all try it together? But my 7 other businesses I started, I've only done 2 other with co-founders. The rest all on myself. But if I was to tell a young person that's starting a business, I'll tell them not to go in it alone, to find a co-founder, because you could split the costs on things, and you could divide the workload.
And what makes a good co-founder?
Communication, honestly. It might sound like a no-brainer, but it's honestly communication. Like, because when you start a business, you're in the trenches throughout the whole thing. You need to call your co-founder like every second, every minute. If they're not picking up, it's quite hard to run a business, especially in its early stages. Something goes wrong, you need to call them. They're not picking up. So communication is quite important. It's that old saying of you're getting in bed with your business partners, right? It sounds weird, but like it's literally it, because you need to talk to them every day. So communication is important. That's what I look for in a co-founder.
It's good, man. It's good to go. And how important is that? Because obviously, as a young entrepreneur and businessman, how important is it for you to really believe and trust in the vision? Like you said from the beginning, I knew from the beginning in terms of Drink the Milie is going to go off. But how important for you as an entrepreneur? Because sometimes it can be quite lonely, Saion, in terms of being an entrepreneur, but how important is it for you to stay the path and say, hey, I just got to trust in the process and just be confident that it's going to pan out, it's going to make some money?
It's very important. It's very important because it's what allows you to get through the tough times. Because it can be tough, like especially for you guys when you started this podcast. It was tough in the very beginning. If you guys didn't maintain that shared vision, you wouldn't have gotten to where you guys are now. So having a vision from the beginning all the way to the end is essential and is crucial for starting business. It's a non-negotiable for me. You need that. So not only do you need communication, you need the vision. You have to see the vision, the end goal. If you don't have either two, it's like, it's hard to trust a person to like, you know, to do anything or expecting to show up or anything like that. So
good one, man. Awesome. So obviously you at Waikato, you studied in Waikato, you studied business in Waikato, and I know we touched on it earlier on in terms of studying in terms of the theory versus the practical. In terms of theory versus practical, have they aligned, or if, in terms of studying practically, like, man, this is some of the things I've been taught hasn't really panned out, but the things that I'm learning just off the cuff sometimes by experience, those are the things that have been quite crucial in terms of becoming an entrepreneur.
Man, it's tough. I'll be honest. Like, I don't think I've seen half of what I learned at uni yet in the business space. Meaning, what I learned at uni wasn't really necessary. It was like, you know, it was a lot of the things I learned at uni, I knew of it already. It was like common sense stuff, but there was just names for it. You know, like business theory, there was just names for stuff. I already knew it. But on the topic of seeing it now, it's I probably don't even see half of it. Maybe some marketing principles I do see, but the rest that I learned at uni wasn't much. But that's for business though. If I was studying to be a doctor in some field, obviously you'd apply everything you've learned. But for business in particular, not even half.
Cool. So what do you say to a young Pacifica that's looking to pursue business? Would you encourage them to go to uni or just go and find a short course?
Yeah.
Or does it depend on how much exposure they've had, like how familiar they are with business concepts and stuff, like with that impact?
They will tie into it.
Okay.
If they weren't familiar at all, I'll tell them, go to uni. If they already have some sort of idea, then don't really need to go uni. You can just take action and start and learn as you go. That's kind of what I heard from Brad. He never knew much about the whole setup until he took action and learned as he went. So I'd recommend the same thing for people wanting to start a business or learn business. If you don't, on the other side, if you don't know anything, then go uni. I think going uni also is a good testament to how committed you are to stay in there and finish. That's something I talk about with a lot of my mates. Like some people don't acknowledge that, you know, staying in uni for 4 years and actually making it out to the end is actually an achievement in itself, besides the degree, you know, because it shows that you're committed to something for 4 years, whether you liked it or not. So I think that's amazing. It shows someone's commitment. You can learn that from uni. So
Agreed.
That's cool. Oh, I'm gonna start susmi now.
I'll help you, bro.
Oh, thanks, Zeus.
I'll help you, bro. Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to run it back, Toko, in terms of the other businesses you started. What are some of the other things you started from the onset or beginning?
I got some. I'll tell you one of my first businesses I started. It was 2019, right?
And how old were you at this time?
So I'm 19, same time.
Okay, cool.
So I'm 19. It's 2019, first year of uni, and this is totally sidetrack. But 1-4 had just started to build popularity, right? But I was actually listening to him the year before that, because our school in Central, we actually listened to a lot of just random music, UK music. That guy can can testify to that. You listen to UK music, Australian music, a lot of music, and 1-4 was already on my radar at the time. I was in uni and they dropped the message. I was like, man, this is a bang. This is like, for me, it was like it relit the fire in me for like our people to see something different, you know. And so I was like, what can I do to start a business around this? So I was like, you know what, let me start a e-commerce business. So I started an e-com business and I was screenshotting like the clips and I was putting on T-shirts. And I was just spamming that on Snapchat, Facebook ads, and I was running just ads on that and selling essentially drop shipping T-shirts or 1-4 merch, 1-4 bootleg merch. I was trying to sell. I got some sales, was decent, but I ran a lot of traffic, and I learned a lot about conversion rates and the whole ad space and that was great to see. Those. I think on Snapchat I pushed about just about around 200,000 clicks through to my Shopify website that was for the bootleg 1-4 merch. And some purchased, some didn't. But what that told me at the time was like, man, I'm onto something. This might not be it. This might not be the business, but I'm onto something. Why don't I pivot and do something else? And so from there I started a couple of other businesses. And then eventually I started a bin cleaning business. So to this day, I haven't seen one executed well in Auckland. So it's essentially like, the bins with the red lid, yellow lid, a business that goes out and like cleans it, just like with a hose or something. There's still no business like that to this day. My good brother and I, blessing, we went out going around houses in Papatoa, and we just asked people, "Do you want your bin cleaned for like $20?" And they're like, "Yeah, clean it." Next house, and we hired like a water tank and pressurized the hose, and we just went around. That didn't last long because just way too much labor. I was still in uni, he was in uni as well. It's like, let's just shelf it. We'll come back to it later when we have capital. That was one business of mine, and then I had this business I started before I got into. I think it was maybe like 3 businesses before Milgi. It was I was a loan shark. I started a loaning business, and I was 20 at the time. Wow! Now I'm not pulling these stories out my ass. I'm like, these are serious stories that I experienced. Because if you can imagine, I'm from South. I'm trying to make money in any way possible that's not illegal. Any way possible that's not illegal. And so I started a loan business because I was like, I started a loan business without actually loaning money. And I got in trouble for this. I got in legal trouble for this from Zip. So what I was doing was I created this is gonna go on, but I stopped it. I stopped it all. But I was probably the first person to ever do this in the world. But I created a platform where people could come onto the website and take out a loan against their wallet, against how much they can spend. So like they're coming over to my store buying a $1,000 loan, and I'll put a merchant fee of like 25%. So they would then check out, and then they would pay that off. What happens in the background is that Zip would send me the money, right? And I'll take my merchant fee, and then I'll send the rest to the customer. And so I was doing that. Like, I didn't even do marketing for it because Zip have this this policy where they can market the newcomers on their website. So I was already getting traffic from that. So I went to sleep that same night I started it, and I woke up with I think 5K or something, or 6K in sales. So it was like overnight for that business. And so I let it run. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, this is too good to be true. To make that much money over, and I'm not even lending my own money. I'm lending Zip's money, and I'm just taking a merchant fee, and I take no risk because they have to pay back Zip. Yeah. You understand? So that lasted for maybe a couple of months, and I had saved all the money because I was like, nah, I don't need this. This is just too good to be true. It's too easy to success. There was no friction at all. And so I was like, I won't spend anything, and then boom, like a week later, I received a bloody what do you call it? It's kind of essentially it's a cease document from Zip saying, hey, we noticed that you're posing as a loan company, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, say no more. I'll cancel everything. Here's the money. I knew it. I knew it was too good to be true. But in my mind, I'm like, man, I was so close to success. I made some good money. It was a good experience. I was like, I was so close. I called it there. I closed down that business, and I refunded. I sent all the money back to Zip, and that was my business for a loan shark. And from there, I started. I started a couple. I started a lot, 7 altogether. I'm just trying to explain stories that would
Get you in trouble.
Wait. Well, I mean, going yeah.
He was a hitman.
That's cool. It's I mean, another funny like legal trouble moment I ran into was with probably Tank, you know, the Tank juice company. At the time, I started so many businesses. I started a government contracting business, right? So I'm dropping some gems for some people that can take these ideas in and you know do with it what you will. But I started a government contracting business. Essentially, what I was a middleman for government contracts and government departments. And what would happen was that the government would put out contracts that are worth like millions or like in the hundred thousands, right? And they'll put it out for tender to anyone. They have to legally do it. They have to, and they also have to choose someone who's a company that's culturally diverse and that's SME, that's classed as SME, right? And I ticked all of that because I was a one-man team. So I was like, yeah. And what I would do was, well, the last deal I did for that business was, and this will tie back around to Tank. The last deal I did for that business was with the Napier Council. Napier Council were asking for, they put out a contract for, I believe, 130K for a rubbish truck. So this is going up there. It's like these contracts out there. I found the contract. I was like, cool. Because I have no rubbish trucks, I'm just a middleman, right? I was calling around getting quotes of for rubbish truck, and I called Robertson Izizu, Palmerston North, and this gentleman picked up the phone. And I told him, oh, hey, look, we need a truck. I was acting as if I was Napier Council. I was like, oh, we need a truck. How much can you give me a quote? Blah blah blah. And he was like, oh yeah, cool. Here's a quote for 90K for a truck. We'll deliver it to you and everything. And I was like, sweet. And then at the very end, he goes, oh, but where are you calling from, or like who are you calling for? And I was like, oh, Napier Council. But you see, I was too excited. I name dropped Napier Council. Then I was like, Napier Council. Then I hung up the phone. I was like, yes, let me chuck on 30K as a merchant fee, because, you know, the contract is worth 130K. The guy gave me a quote for 90K. It's 120K I'm offering to them. It's like, they can save 10K. And I submitted that to Napier Council. And then weeks go by, and then the contract manager gets back to me and goes, hey, I just want to let you know, bro, I'm sorry, but you came second in the bid for the contract. So in my mind, I'm like, I was so close. At least to me, that's like I almost won 30K from doing nothing, literally, right? Then I was like, oh, that's cool, bro. I appreciate you calling me, but who won first place? And he's like, oh, Robertson Izizu, Palmerston North. And I was in my head, I'm like, fuck. It's like this old fella on the phone. I was like, man, I should have name dropped Napier Council in my head, because I was just too excited. And from there, like, you know, I also learned, like, you know, keep my mouth shut when it's needed. And from there, when I was in the government contract space, that was my last deal. I was always close. I was always second place to a lot of deals. I never won any for the government contracting space. For people watching, you should watch the movie War Dogs. It's a great movie to watch. It's about government contracting, and that's essentially what I did. But I always came second. You know, I always came second. It was so, but I didn't continue that business because there was just so much paperwork and legal jargon that I had to go through. I'm going for like 20 papers just to, like, you know, sort out this one contract. And yeah, it's just way too much mind work. And so I moved on from government contracting into the trademark space. And so I was kind of similar space of you know, legalities, and essentially I was helping a few businesses with their trademarks, and then I realized, hold on, this is when I realized the whole the walk through the supermarket, and I realized, you know, there's not enough Pacifica Maori products on the shelves. I was like, wait, why don't I cover myself and do some trademarks first? Because that's costing nothing. It's like $100 or so. So I was trademarking like a lot of Otai trademarks and some other like Pacifica Maori trademarks. And one trademark I trademarked was an Otai trademark that looked quite similar to Tank. And, you know, at the time, I didn't realize Tank didn't trademark their own trademark. You know, a big company, a big franchise, going on a decade, didn't even do their own trademark. And I had submitted it, and then a couple of weeks later, the chairwoman of Tank contacted me. She emailed me, cold email, saying, hey, saw that you did a trademark. It looks quite similar to ours. Can we sort something else? In my mind, I'm like, can I try squeeze money out of her? They're like, yeah, you're chill in the tank. Let me try to do something. And but I had some financial backing, kind of support, and we met over Zoom call and we chatted. Her name's Morag. She's a lovely woman. Lives in St. Heliers, and she was like, "Oh, do you think you can revoke your pull back your trademark submission?" I was like, "Oh, I'll think about it." Me trying to hint to get some money. I was like, "Oh, I'll think about it if it was money involved." Nah. But she didn't budge. I think that was her last option, honestly. But essentially, I ended up volunteering to pull it out anyway. And in that moment, I gained an ally instead of an enemy. So instead of going through all that rubbish and trying to get like a lawsuit settled and everything and a settlement payment, etc., I just pulled it out. I was like, yeah, sweet. As long as I can contact you in the future for anything. She's like, yeah,
incredible, man.
Of course. I was like, oh, sweet. Then from there, one business, second business, and then Milky. So it's quite a lot. It's in 4 years' time.
That's heaps, man.
How do you navigate through some of those emotions where, you could potentially squeeze money out of someone, or realizing, hey, this is not something I want to go through. I might need an ally rather than the enemy at this time. Like, is there a moral compass, or is money always the goal?
No, money's not always the goal. There is a moral compass that I do have. And for me, at 19, I realized that money isn't the goal for me. Money is just a tool that allow me to get to my goal. My goal is to provide for my family. I'm also a father now, so I need to provide for my son, right, and my partner. I need to provide security for them. I want to ensure that my family, especially my mum and my grandparents, experience the world. Because so far, they've only moved from the islands, come to NZ, or went to Oz, and that's it. There's so much of the world that they haven't experienced, and I want to ensure that I'm the one to do that for them. And I'm doing that through business. That's the only way I can see to do it. I realized this at 19. I was like, working a 9 to 5 is great for some people, just not for me though. Just not for me. I can't, because I can't provide for my family, and I can't achieve those goals by doing that. So I need to do it through business.
That's good, Hoos.
How did you fall in love with business? Where did the passion come from? Is it from your parents, stuff that you were exposed to, or movies you watched?
Right. It's a combination of a few factors, honestly. One, my father was a mechanic panel beater growing up, so I was always surrounded by like the latest JDM cars. Although his business wasn't legal, he was diving. He was diving and dabbling in business, and he was I was seeing money around me every day. It was legal, but he wasn't a registered company at the time. So seeing that, and also my love of anime and webtoons. I read a lot of anime, manga, webtoons, etc. And I'm a big fan of Marvel and DC and Star Wars, and just seeing all those your typical main characters go through their own adversities, and then triumph it, and then realizing, wait, hold on, their adversity was like fighting against like a kingdom, or like defeating a super strong enemy. My adversity is just like getting over this financial barrier. What's stopping me? That, and also the realization of wanting to take care of my family. All of that combined together helped drive me to do business and stay passionate about it. So
it's cool. Love that.
It's incredible, man. What incredible! You're saying this all within a span of what, 3-4 years? So
yeah,
mate. Just I love your passion, and I love your drive, and I love what Charles was saying. Where did all that come from? And obviously, you, in terms of understanding that, obviously your parents and them coming to New Zealand and migrating to New Zealand and seeing the hardship and all that kind of stuff, as to why you want to pursue business. As a young entrepreneur, what are some of the business acumens you have garnered or gained whilst dabbling in and starting your own business, more so with Drink the Milie? What are some of the key acumens you need to have as a businessman?
Networking would probably be one. Networking, obviously communication that I mentioned earlier, because I wouldn't be able to, for example, lock in the Woolworths deal if I didn't have great communication, if I didn't build that and develop that over time. Networking, communication, I'd say also being a genuine human being, just being a genuine person, bro, because it's hard to find that especially in the business space. A lot of people are just, tit for tat. And so it can be black and white in the business space, but if you can come across as a super genuine person, then that will really help in whatever the conversations are. And those are some of the acumens that I believe are important and I've garnered over the months.
It's awesome, man. And speak about family, because obviously you're about 22 in terms of outlets and Woolworths, and so now that they've seen Drink the Milie doing some amazing stuff. How are the family? How's your kainga? How's the family? Are they knocking at the door? Hey, my nephew, you're my nephew. Are they calling now? Hey, I want to be part of the business now. So what's the feel there?
Yeah, I told you before I had a couple of family members. Well, not a couple. I had quite a few family members come out to me and and ask me. And I'm not against it though. I'm not sure if you expected me to be against it. I'm actually all for it, because when I was coming up, I had no one around me that I could look up to for business. And so for someone who's like much older than me or younger than me to ask me for help, I'm like, yeah, man, I'm all for it. Because I didn't get that, coming up. I had to look outside of NZ. I had to look at Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Steve, etc. All these people that weren't from NZ or from our background for inspiration. That alone is already hard because they don't look like you or come from where you are. And so if I'm inspiring, especially my family, and they're reaching out to me, yeah, I'm all for it, man.
It's cool.
It is funny though, like you haven't contacted me in like a year or 2 years, in a couple of years, and now you want to message me and say, okay.
What village are you from, Moose?
In where? In which? Because I'm half Tongan, half Niue.
From Niue.
Mutalau and
Totally.
Alofi as well, I think.
We got family.
Oh, really? yeah. But we're all family, bro. Are you from Otara?
Yeah, I grew up in
Otara, boys. Yeah.
Live there, not anymore. I just recently moved out.
Oh, yeah?
But yeah, my wife's from there.
Whereabouts in Otara?
I'm Dawson Way, so Opinion Drive at the back there.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Is that what you asked me? Did I go TC?
Yeah.
No, my mother did. My mother went TC.
Cool.
Yeah, she went Tonga.
Ooh.
But I went St. Paul's. I went to school in Central. Yeah. But my family are still in Otara to this day. We're on Beards Road.
Hey, I lived on Beards Road. That's where I'm from. Yeah.
So Beards Road where the pools are.
Wish you told me you're from
process.
St. Paul's earlier. We would have did this episode offline.
Wait, you went last time?
You already know.
Hey, I feel you, bro. I feel you.
Kia ora, man. You last.
Did you go St. Paul's?
Yeah, kia ora's last time as well, man.
I didn't know pasta. The very precious.
You did. You went to last time. One year. Kia ora.
He doesn't want to admit it.
He used that to get in the door.
He's a businessman.
Take him out of this team. Last night.
I didn't know, but I didn't know. Yeah.
Oh, so you guys the same year?
No, he's my brother's year. I got a younger brother.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He's my brother's year.
Oh,
so
awesome.
I finished 2018. He finished, yeah. But I do understand that rivalry. It was an interesting rivalry because when I was a senior, that rivalry was dying down.
Oh, nice.
'Cause I had heaps of boys from LaSalle.
Yeah.
But I think it was probably like 5 years before that, the rivalry was there. But it's interesting now, right? Like you don't see that now.
Nah.
I don't know if it's because of the influence of TikTok and online social media, but schools don't fight anymore.
Oh, me.
You guys notice that? I hardly see or hear about school beef anymore.
Oh, I hope not. It was because of
good, man.
Pete's generation.
Oh yeah, man.
Their generation was like,
That's the
got to my generation, we stopped it. We get no more beef. We're all love, we're all family. Okay. But yeah. Oh, no, that's good to know.
Yeah,
That's actually really interesting though, because you don't really hear about. Because back in the day, it was like, oh, bro, they're going to their school to go scrap someone out,
Yeah.
and now you.
You don't hit anymore, eh?
Yeah.
You know what I think it is? I think it's collaboration. I think the effects of rugby clubs, boys joining different rugby clubs, and then going to different schools, and then knowing each other already, and then also the influence of online social media. I think that all helped achieve a positive impact on the schools where the boys don't fight amongst each other. I think a lot of the younger boys know like there's more to school than just like repping the school, which is great. So
Yeah. Nothing will happen tonight. We're all good.
Oh yeah. Bro, I told you it's 1v3. 1v3, I knew it.
That guy!
You got my best.
Nah, we're gonna cut that guy.
So I was like, hey, am I safe? Am I safe?
He gets me, I'm last selling. 1 year and intermediate.
Oh, did you not know, bro? He's never gonna hear the end of it, bro.
That's
Funny, bro.
Oh man, this is so cool. I'm sorry. But speaking about social media, so obviously you've been using a lot of social media in terms of the business and growing the business. How beneficial has that been for you in terms of getting the word out for Drink the Milie?
I think it's a non-negotiable in modern day business. You need to have social media. The same way you guys have use Instagram and etc. The same way I have to do as well. And it is essential in getting our name out there. Even for boring businesses, I mean boring as in like, super like not pretty type of businesses, they need marketing as well. China do that the best, actually. There's a lot of Chinese boring business Instagram pages and TikTok pages that are doing extremely well just because people are interested to see the background and the behind the scenes of that. And I think, you'd be surprised how interested human beings would be in anything, But social media is crucial. It's non-negotiable for business nowadays.
Good, man.
You need it. It's the new wave. It's like I was talking about this with a good mate of mine. His name's Shane. He's the founder of Something Dumpling.
Yeah, cool.
We were talking about how eventually our vision of marketing in the future is that big corporations will have a dedicated content creator in their department or division. Their own content creator. They'll stop outsourcing it because right now they're outsourcing it to influencers and content creators, right? Well, what's stopping them from creating their own content creator in-house or just passing the phone around to all the workers? Nothing's stopping them. Just they haven't realized it yet. So once they've realized it, they're going to do all the content in-house. Some companies are already doing that, like small companies, but like once the bigger companies do it, it's the only people who will find it difficult is probably the content creators that make money off that. So
That's true.
like right now, you guys are your own social media. You know what I mean? Like you guys, besides getting people to come on as a way to get the word out there, you guys essentially do your own social media, right?
Yeah, man. I was just wondering because obviously, with all the businesses that you've started, what are some obviously a lot of things you've learned along the way? So, what's been the hardest in terms of hurdles in terms of drink the Milie? What are some of the things that you're like, oh my gosh, I wish I don't have to go through that again? Some of the things you kind of learned, like, oh man, some of the mistakes you've had to kind of push and you didn't foresee. What are some of the things that kind of were hard for you during the business?
I think not even just for Milie, I think for any business, capital was the biggest thing, was the biggest hardship, it was the biggest constraint for growth overall. If we had, I don't know, like $1 million or something, Milie would have grown to even higher heights. But because I bootstrapped with the co-founders initially, we bootstrapped the company, meaning we invested our own money to grow it. It got to where it is today. So capital would be my answer to that, bro. I think if we raised capital in the very beginning for Milie, that would have been a weight off my shoulders. Because I had to this day, I had to invest my own money into the business, So moving forward for my future businesses and ventures, I'll raise capital. Whether it be through institutional investors or through a VC or a fund, I'm going to raise capital. It's a non-negotiable now. I can't do this for my own money anymore. That's the hardest thing, especially now that I'm a father. It's like I can't afford to use my own money any longer. But fortunately, we've got the war still, and things are looking up and brighter. So
it's cool, man.
Awesome, man.
And speaking of fatherhood, how are you finding the juggle in terms of being a father, but also trying to spearhead this business and keep it moving?
It was interesting because I was talking to someone and they were saying, you'll know once you become a father. I'm not sure if you guys are all fathers here. I was like, yeah, I felt that, man. It's like, oh, yeah, I get it now. I'm a father now. I get it now. It's that really kicked in for me, and I was like, well, to this day, it's still surreal just to go home to my boy. It's like, he looks like me, and he just came from me, literally. And it's just every time I touch him and hold him Going from like in the tummy and looking at the X-ray, photos to actually touching, I was like, it's a surreal feeling. It's an amazing feeling, and that's why I look forward to going home every day. I'm fortunate enough to have that maturity at this young age, but yeah, it's something I really look forward to when going home. Even after this, when we wrap up, I'm going to go into my son. He's probably going to be asleep, but I always look forward to it, And in terms of juggling that with the business, it is quite difficult. I was telling Pete and the others outside that I'm fortunate I have a good partner who believes in the vision as well. Because that's what you also need as well. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. You need to have a great partner, a great spouse. Because she sees the vision, she allows me to go off and do my things, I'm not neglecting my duty as a father. I still do those things still, but she's a great person, a great mother, and allows me to do those things. So yeah, it is amazing. But probably right now he's not old enough where I need to pay for education and stuff, right? He's still a baby. He's not even a toddler yet. So once he's probably 7 or something, or 8, that's when I'm like, man, I can't do this and a business. I can't do both. It'll be quite straining, I'd imagine.
Man, Dogo, it's incredible. It's just we've had several young people or young guests come on and similar age like yourself, 23 years old, and you've started all these businesses, and you got Drink the Milie that's just it's expanding, and I know you wanted to go global as well, and so I know we talked about touched a little bit out there in terms of other things you want to do. What are some of the other things you are wanting to pursue, or other products you have in mind in terms of business?
Right. For the FMCG space, that's what this is called, food, fast-moving consumer goods. That's what the food and beverages space is called. My goal for Milie isn't just to stop at milk. My goal is to put more Pacifica and Māori products on the shelves of major supermarkets. I want to make sure that things like for Nuans, Takihi, or for other islanders like chop suey and stuff, that's accessible around the world. Because we get kimchi, and that's from Korea. What the heck? That's from Korea, and it's all the way here in NZ, and people from our people consume that, because of the influence of K-dramas and K-pop. So why can't we do that the other way around? Our entertainment industry is already kind of getting up there. We're getting more content creators up there in the world. Now we just need the food and the beverages to back it. Milie is just the start. Or Dye is probably next, because that's what the original product was supposed to be. After that, probably, I don't know, I don't want to say my ideas online.
We'll save Sus Me for after.
Well, yeah, that idea too. Well, just essentially just think any product that we consume, our people consume at the markets, wherever, just imagine that at major supermarkets.
Yeah.
And so that's my goal after Milie, not stopping there. Or be like some other product. And eventually we'll just walk into Countdown or Pack and Save, and you can buy you don't need to go to the markets anymore. Maybe the people that were at the markets now have products inside supermarkets, and they can, because if you look at even something like as simple as a noodle packet, that's $1 billion product right there, And there's probably some family that started it as a food ration type of thing over in Asia. That's essentially how it usually starts. Some families just scrapping together some goods and they called it a product. And eventually it became tradition, and then it was spread out and got commercialized and went around across the world. That's what's lacking with our people in our Pacifica Māori space. It's our cuisines, our foods, they're not mainstream. They haven't been commercialized. That's my vision for Milie. So I'm not stopping at milk.
It's good,
That's awesome, man.
It's good, Toko.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah. Just because it is, I literally think, and maybe you can talk to this as well, Toko. I really believe that our people, Pacifica and Māori, are just natural entrepreneurs. They come up with some great ideas, and you've seen it time and time again. You see the flea markets, you see them come up with these ideas, but they probably don't have the nous to kind of like, go and do this, or these ideas, how to. But they come up with some real creative ideas, and then they try to do it, but they find out they're doing it the hard way. What do you say to a lot of our people who are doing it the hard way?
Bro, we're born hustlers, bro. It's in us, man. We're always finding opportunities. But I think the one thing that limits us is that we don't have enough examples around us. I bring it back to the point of I didn't see much people around me that I could look towards for inspiration coming up. If we had more David Tours and more Adi Saviers in the business space, then more people will be, more accepting of the fact that, okay, it's achievable. This is really achievable. There's someone that looks like me, comes from the same background as me. If he can do it, if she can do it, then I can do it. So that's what I believe we need more of in order to change the culture and change the mindsets of a lot of people that are doing it the hard way. It's, and a great example of this is, and I still got brothers in the space, but it's the illegal space. The reason why a lot of our people turn to that is because it's glorified. It looks great. We've got so many figures around us that make it look great. You know what I mean? So if we can just get that and apply it to business and entrepreneurship, then we'll get more young people coming up going, man, that looks great as well. I want to do that. I want to do that instead of this. And if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Another example is footy. We've got so many amazing people in the rugby space that are all coming up, and younger people look up to them. We've got, the entire NRL and Super Rugby is all filled with Pacifica and Māori, which is why there's more Pacifica and Māori coming in, because everyone's like seeing the same people, our people, do it. Okay, let's just follow through and copy the same routes. So we need that in business stuff. And I hope to eventually be someone that people can look towards as one of those figures that can convince them, business is doable. It's achievable.
Love that, bro. That's cool. And just going off what Peter had asked you, like, you've gone through 9 businesses now?
7, and there's a lot of great ideas, and you've pursued it. Some have fallen, but what's the difference from someone that has a great idea and someone that actually just pursues something? That's an interesting question.
Because a lot of people have great ideas,
Yeah,
we got
everyone's got great ideas. Yeah. I think all the people that have great ideas but never pursue it, it's not a great idea then, because it hasn't come into fruition. They've done nothing about it.
It's just an idea.
It's all about the people that pursue their ideas, whether it's good or not, whether it's great or not. Because they're taking action. Because I didn't know anything about the financial space, lending space, the food space, the milk space, let alone the milk space. I just took action and I learned as I went. That's one thing I'll tell our people, younger people, like, even if you don't know, if you have a great idea, great. But if you don't know where to start, just take action. As dumb and as simple as that may sound, it's like you just take action, start, create a name, do a little brand logo, whatever. You know what I mean? Learn as you go, contact some people. Just learn as you go. You don't need to learn everything. One thing I always think about that's questionable is like people that learn everything before they even start. Because to me, it's like they're trying to learn everything, and eventually before they start, they've learned so much that they've created a safety net where it prevents them from actually taking the jump. You know what I mean? Because they just overthought things. That's essentially what happens when you try to learn everything. You eventually overthink and this is not a great idea. I won't pursue it.
Analysis paralysis. Yeah.
Analysis paralysis. That's what it is. Yeah, absolutely. So just take action. Yeah, take action and learn as you go. So people that pursue ideas, that's what I would say.
So you would say, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but be courageous, run it, just take action. Do you think there's an element of being? Is there an element of being bold? You have to be bold to take action.
Absolutely. Yeah. You put the word in my mouth. Yes, take action. Yeah. No, be courageous. That's what he said.
Yeah, I got a new idea. Just putting words in people's mouth.
Whoa, pause.
Well, wait, pause. Sorry. And I just learned pause last week. Pause. Heard my young people, they watch this episode. That's the same pause? Nah.
Words. Putting words in the people's minds now. That was De La Salle, college, Wait, what year you finished, bro? What year you finished?
96.
Whoa.
Nah. Class of 02, baby.
Ooh.
If you got a problem, come and see me at
I got to your tour park.
Yeah, bro. I do believe take courage and actually that's our school motto. You know that?
Is it?
Yeah. That's our school motto. Is it? And you said it. Wait, you're from De La Salle, though. What the heck?
You know 2 different mottos, eh?
Yeah. But take courage. But I believe it still comes back to seeing. Well, I think we need the first movers. I believe like people like us, even you guys could be counted as entrepreneurs. That's what I believe. You guys are first movers. Myself, we're first movers in this space. What I mean by first movers is that we're like the first people to kind of do this and put it out into the world, right? We need more first movers because then that will allow all the younger people and other people coming up to see examples and go, okay, if they can do it, then I can do it. I'll take courage and pursue the idea.
Sure, bro.
You know,
It's good. It's good, Dogo.
And that's awesome because I know that fear of failure, and that's one of the big things with entrepreneurship is like being able to pivot the way that you've done, and that fear of failure, like overcoming that, because I think that holds a lot of people back. And you kind of mentioned in terms of like that safety net, like trying to learn everything because there's a fear that like, what if this happens or this happens? And just really interesting that. And I don't know if that's something that's come up from family life or maybe schooling as well, in terms of not having a fear of failure, or is there a fear of failure, but it's just push through no matter what?
there's two answers, bro. My first answer is my love for anime, webtoons, mangas. Me seeing those whoever the main characters are fail over and over and over again, and then to finally triumph, that's what really hit me. Do you know what I mean? Because like if these fictional characters can do that for problems way worse than mine, then I can do it. I can get over whatever my fear I have. It's like, bro, I can do it as well, you know. And my second answer is my why, my purpose for why I'm doing everything. My family comes back to. If I die tomorrow, who's taking care of my family? That's like a simple truth. If you pass away tomorrow, who's taking care of your daughter and son? You know, do you know what I mean? You can't let that. In my mind, if I have that thought in my head, I can't let that just sit there and go, you know what, I'll just chill, I'll play some games, I'll just work at normal 9 to 5, which is great, but I'll just work at normal 9 to 5 and whatever and call it a day. You know, I can't, that doesn't settle well with me, you know. So I'm always hustling, I'm always learning, pivoting, and that's what helps drive me through and continue to help me persevere. I never forget those two things. The fictional characters in animes and stuff I watch, and my whys. That's what helps me stay fearless in all my decision making and all the ventures I pursue.
That's sweet. And since you mentioned anime, I'm curious. Top 5?
Now you know what? Like I'm actually an anime connoisseur. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna talk about Naruto or stuff because that's mainstream. You know, I watch like anime. I really watch anime. I read it. But I'm gonna say not even top 5, but one of my I can't list it in order. But I want to say one of my top ones for me is Code Geass. It's main character is Lelouch beat Britannia, and his story is interesting because he was born at the top of the world, so his family ruled the world, right? He was born into that family, and then he went from being at the top of the world to the very bottom. Do you know what I mean? He got excommunicated from his family, so he had to start over again. And you got to keep in mind, this guy's family runs the world. And so he had to work his way up and then eventually fight his father and then take control. So that always hits home for me and just watching that. But yeah, I would say Code Geass, Death Note. It's hard. Let me state some newer, but more recent animes. Reincarnated as a Slime. I think that's pretty up there for me. Not sure if you guys have seen it. Boruto, bro. You're watching you got the Naruto jump on, but Boruto, bruh, that is rubbish. That's
I've heard
the sequel to an anime called Naruto. It's now these two. You guys interesting. Dragon Ball Z. I had a feeling, bro. If I said Dragon Ball Z, these are like, oh yes.
Sailor Moon,
Nah, bro,
Samurai Pizza Cats.
Dragon Ball Z is good because it was the first mover in the space. Yeah. It was one of the first.
I still think it's the best. It beats Death Note and
Death Trap.
Bumbanchi.
Damn, we gotta get into anime, man. You don't watch anime, bro. It's like you're not watching enough, man. Honestly, like because the creators in Japan, they're very dedicated people, right? So the creators behind animes, they really study philosophy and then they apply it into the animes and the mangas and the manhwas, etc. So like that's why I really consume anime a lot and mangas and stuff, because it's the philosophy behind it, the values and principles you're learning as you're watching these and reading these things. More or less about the action, and that's great. That's an add-on. It's a compliment. But it's just the philosophies and the values that you learned.
It's cool,
Yeah,
man.
idea now.
I don't mean to make it all philosophical, but like,
Oh no,
seriously.
it's cool. I like it. It's so cool. It's so cool.
You know, like-
Samoan anime.
Oh, you know what? I was actually talking to this guy. He's from Hawaii, and he's creating the first Pacifica anime.
I'm gonna beat him to it. What's this one called?
Oh, I don't know, but it was. I think he's. I think he's
that'd
raising
be
capital.
cool.
He's raising
That'd
capital
be
based from
mean.
Hawaii, bro.
Yeah.
And he's doing like an anime based on like the
All our
different
stories.
islands, yeah, and all our stories
cool.
in Maui
That'd
and
be
such.
cool.
Yeah. It's that would be cool, bro.
That'd be mean.
That's you know what, like there's so much untapped business potential in the Pacifica and Maori space. You know, not only is our food and stuff not commercialized yet, but even our stories. Yeah. Like you have Disney doing Maui for us. Do you know what I mean? Disney had to do it for us with The Rock. Obviously, he's over there in the States, but the hub of Polynesia is over here. Do you know what I mean? So I believe we need more of that. The music is coming up. We've got more of our people in the music space, which is great. Now we need more in like the acting space, you know, just the overall entertainment industry and food space and such, and tech space even as well. You know, and podcast space, which you guys, which is great. It's amazing.
Just gotta make some money now.
Oh, trust me, bro. Like moving forward in the future, bro.
Yeah.
I'll be one of the sponsors, bro. I'll be one of the sponsors.
Yeah,
Oh, sure.
shut the go.
Yes, I'll snip that and
Remind us that. Yeah, timestamp. Yeah. It's,
nah, sure, Uso.
no.
Yeah, I love the way you're thinking and where your heart is, especially trying to bring up our people and be that. What did you call it? The first
mover.
The first mover.
Yeah.
We got to do that, eh?
That's why I'm like, you guys did that for the podcast space, you know, and I do see a lot more podcasts around, which is great. It's amazing, and so I think you guys should big up yourself on being the first movers in this space to like actually see it through to where it is now. That's amazing in itself.
Yeah, man,
Oh, thanks, bro.
appreciate that,
Appreciate
Togo.
that.
Appreciate that, Togo.
My kid hasn't seen me since we started.
Yeah, tell them believe in the vision, man. You gotta believe in the vision. Tell them believe in the vision, man.
Die for the vision. Die for the vision, man.
Oh, stop that.
Oh man.
No, I guess like that, bro. Like even like I look at my boy and I look at photos of him when he was younger. I'm like, man, that's how much time has passed since I've like stepped away. But we gotta do what we gotta do as men, as fathers.
It's good, man.
Well, obviously, because my father, my mother and father split up, so obviously, I have to lead by example and actually be a really good father. My father's still around; he's still good, provides financially, but actually being there in person is also different.
Yeah. And man, this is your first child and it's quite a special time in their development, man. Enjoy it, bro, because before you know it, they're like
21,
still at your house,
21.
there's 20 and you go, hey, can you move up now? Nah, but they grow up real fast and like you only get those first milestones once and you don't get it back. So unless you like have heaps of kids like Brad, nah.
You know what? It comes back to my reasoning, my why is for my family. I want to become financially successful, so that I can spend more time with my family. I don't need to work all day or like half the day and come back. I just don't need to work at all anymore. I just sit back. All my businesses are just autonomous and moving by itself, and I can look spend time with my family, my kids. That's cool. That is the goal.
It's good, man.
Yeah.
Incredible. I tell you what, Togo, it's incredible. As young as you are, I'm always astounded by young entrepreneurs and more so Pacifica. And so, Togo, in terms of business and so forth, being a young entrepreneur, because some people think, oh man, being an entrepreneur, being a businessman, oh, that's quite glamorous, the glitz, and they see they're wealthy, they're doing financially secure, all that kind of stuff. But tell us, Togo, tell us some instances where, man, like, my gosh, where you felt like maybe this is not the maybe the things are not panning out for me, or even regardless of business, where you feel like, man, I'm just going through some hard times, some struggles, some hardships. Obviously, there'll be stories in terms of mental fatigue. You're tired. The stress and straining. Tell us about some of those examples.
Now, I don't mean to be cocky or anything, or brag, but I never find myself mentally fatigued, because, and it's a funny thing, another thing Shane and I spoke about is you're able to rest with purpose. So I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard of that before, but when you rest with purpose, you're resting, well, in his name, you're resting with purpose. And so anytime I have a downtime, I'm either watching anime, reading webtoons, or I'm, watching YouTube of some guy that started a business, or, just things that inspire me and that I really like. And so every time I do that and business, I'm never mentally fatigued. And I also go to the gym as well. So I make sure to do all those things, and that always keeps me afloat. If I'm just doing business, bro, eventually I'm gonna get fatigued, bro. But it's because I mix it up. For me, my average day is like, I'm not spending hours at a time doing business. I'm doing like either 1 hour, a 1 hour burst, and then I'm playing a game or something, and then doing some marketing, and also watching anime, and then I go back. You know what I mean? I think that's actually a study method. I can't recall what the name is called, but it's a method of just doing it in bursts rather than over time. And so I applied that to how I work in my everyday life, which is why I'm never mentally fatigued.
It's good.
And obviously all my whys and reasonings allows me to never be mentally fatigued. I can't afford to be. I have to stay on point always. But one struggle I'm facing right now with probably Milgie is merchandising. So as cool as it sounds, like, I'm on 22 countdowns, it's amazing, but I don't have a big team, as you can imagine. So either someone else or myself have to go into each countdown and double check that the stock is on the shelf, or that a competitor hasn't moved it. Because that's it's called merchandising, retail merchandising. So one of our competitors, like Fonterra or Metafresh, are legally allowed to move our milk somewhere else, or like hide it at the back. You know what I mean? That's legally allowed in that space. So I have to make sure and go each store. So like our furthest store up north is in up north over the shore is in Browns Bay, and then our furthest down south is probably Kura, and then our furthest out west is Linmore, and then east is probably Botany Downs. So like you can imagine, I'm going around all across Auckland, or me or someone else having to make sure the milk is on the shelves. You know what I mean? So for me, I'm like, yes, I got Woolworths. That's great. I thought I could sit back a little bit. No, now it's more full on. Now I have to go each store and double check all those things. So I'm not sure if you knew that it's actually legal.
Wow, they can do that. Fonterra can just push your.
So we're gonna help you now.
The back.
Is that because of the contracts or?
No. We're gonna help them out now. To all the islanders out there, when you go through Woolies next time, go hide the other milk ones. Bring milk to the front. Make sure it's presented well. And then we got you.
I was thinking about outsourcing for the people. But it's legal. It's that's what it's called. That's what's called retail merchandising. So it's.
Now
How they do that?
Always in there.
Yeah.
I thought they're just trying to make it nice, but
no. So they have they have their own merchandisers that go out into each stores, and the people, the supermarkets know them, just like let them in, and then they go through and put make the shelves look nice and stuff, and obviously as a small company we don't have like a massive fleet of people to go out and do that 24/7. So me and a couple of others have to go out and do that, and it can be. Quite a long time, bro. Like it took me 3 days to do 17 stores because someone couldn't turn up. So I was like, oh, damn.
Jeez.
I have to move from doing admin work out to doing groundwork, and it's great experience, but it's not scalable long term. I can't do that forever. So I plan to outsource it, actually.
It's good, man.
But yeah, people watching it, help a brother out.
For sure.
If you see my product at the bottom, put it back at the top.
We'll put out a challenge if you do that, and then. Video it and then tag that day.
Yeah. But that'd be helpful, bro, because then I can put a complaint through to that bloody store. No, but it happened at the Victoria Street countdown in town, the CBD.
Wow.
Someone put the bloody milk on the cartons. Sometimes there's cartons at the bottom. They put it at the bottom there. and like there was the empty space where the milk was. They just did that. I'm like, bro. I walked in, I was like, man, it's one of the ops, bro. It's one of the ops. One of the ops, bro. One of the competitors, man. I had to go put it back there. I videoed it, and I was like,
Might have been someone from La Salle.
some last sale merchandiser, bro. What the
would have drank.
Nah, probably someone from the corporate, bro. Corporate company, bro. But you know, it's part of the game. It's part of the game. It's part of the game. It's,
Yeah.
but I don't see myself in this milk space forever, or in the food space forever. Once I've commercialized our people's products, Pacifica and Maori, I'm going over to the tech space because that's what I'm passionate about. I'm actually passionate about blockchain and tech. So it's funny. One of the businesses, I wouldn't class it as a business, but I was in the crypto space at a young age as well. But that was like 2018. So
Cryptocurrency as well. Wow.
it's but I still believe it's an important technology, just like AI tech. I do believe it's an important technology. So yeah, I do plan to get back into that space eventually. But all these businesses, essentially, it's just for money, and the money is just to help my family. That's how we play the game, honestly. You know,
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
that's how we play the game.
Man, Malo. What do you say to those aspiring entrepreneurs who say, "Oh man, I just need the capital," and sometimes, and I think I'm just imagining most times people, if they don't have the capital, they don't end up pushing forward or moving forward with the idea, and so they're probably waiting for capital, and like, okay, it's just the wait, and they can be waiting for ages. But so, what do you say to those individuals who are like, "Oh, I need to find money," because they might be thinking, okay, I might look for investors, might have to even go look at some loan sharks and so forth. What do you say to those guys who kind of like, okay, I need to start, but I don't know how to start. I got no capital.
Well, I wouldn't say my actual answer first. I would say some places that they could look towards. There's actually programs like the King's Trust. So Therese went through the King's Trust. That's how she got a business grant to start her Lalanga card game. So there are organizations that give out grants out there in NZ. You just got to find it. It's not marketed well, which is stupid because no one knows there's a bloody grant for like a Pacifica Māori business out there. It doesn't end up getting facilitated, so they just like void it and then bring it back the next year. You know what I mean? So there's grants out there for our people, although it's hard to apply. Second is comes back to co-founders. So not only do you need to find a co-founder that's great at communication, who believes in the vision, but you're getting a co-founder so you can go half of the costs. If you get more co-founders, great. You can go thirds on the costs. So it brings the cost down even smaller. So then the capital is not that much of a problem anymore, you know. But me, I would personally say, find a business idea. It doesn't need to be a great idea. It can be just anything simple that doesn't require too much capital, that you're able to scale, and that you can see through to the end. You know what I mean? There are business ideas out there. I had 7 of them. I just explained some of them already. You can go into the government contracting space, like War Dogs, you know. You're just the middleman. Just register a company, find contracts online, get quotes, and then send it through to the government department, wherever it is, and just wait for a response. Do that 100 times, and maybe you'll land one, and then, you know, rinse and repeat. So that's what I would say. Either find those organizations out there that give grants, find a couple of co-founders that you guys can go half on the cost on, or find an easy, scalable idea that requires little to no capital. That's how I would answer that.
It's good. It's good, Dogo.
What's it been like in terms of like, I'm making an assumption here, but did you have a business mentor?
So my father went to jail in 2014, 2015, you know, for drugs and gang stuff. And my mother put us through a program called Pillars, which is just located down the road. That's for kids that have incarcerated parents, and they provide them with a mentor. I was provided a mentor. His name is Miles Valentine. He's actually a tech entrepreneur. He's quite wealthy as well. And he was my mentor. Now he's a family. He's family now. It's been like years now, you know, 8-7 years. And I consider him to be, you know, somewhat of an uncle, father figure. And although I had him and he was a business mentor to me in some ways, he didn't spoon feed me anything. You know, he didn't give me the secrets or anything. He just allowed me to learn on my own, you know. And all he did was, if I needed someone, he would provide connections. That was it. You know what I mean? He didn't give me the obvious answer. I had to learn everything myself, you know. But it was interesting because I would spend some time with him So you can imagine, I'm going to school in Ponsonby. This is when I'm like 17, 15, 16, 17. I'm going to school in Ponsonby and coming back to Otara. And then I'm going to this house in Mission Bay or St. Heliers. You know what I mean? And like, I think that also adds to why my development as a person, just seeing those different dynamics at a young age going around, you know, going from like the hood over there, central, other side of Auckland and then back multiple times, and just that somewhat conditioning has conditioned myself into thinking, you know what, there's more than there is to just Otara, you know, than just Auckland. Then there's all these things out there in the world, plus all the other animes and stuff that really helped me, you know. So I did have a mentor, but he didn't give me any easy way out. I had to learn everything myself. You know, he didn't even give me any loan, no nothing. And and I'm thankful for that, you know what I mean? Because he allowed me to achieve it on my own. I'll do the same thing for my son as well. I'll mentor him, my kids. I wouldn't give them a loan at all. I would get them to try and exhaust all the options, try and make money without money. Maybe I'll give you like, I don't know, 5K or 10K, like a little startup loan, but nothing too crazy, you know, where they're not able to work for it. So I understand the importance of working for it yourself. You know.
Jeez,
Yeah, man,
I love that, man. It is. It's just. I think a lot of people think, and some people they look at business and they think entrepreneurship is like, man, that's amazing. I can do this, and people think anyone can do that. And you would know this. Not everyone is made for entrepreneurship. You know, then some people need to take the risk, and some people are risk takers. But also in the sense, what are the essential attributes or characteristics someone needs to have if they're in the game? When they put skin in the game, they put their own money in the game. What are some of the attributes that you think that are a must have for someone who wants to get into business or start their own business?
Courage, perseverance, and the ability to have some sense of foresight, because then you're able to make calculated risks based off of that. So having those attributes are crucial in taking this entrepreneurial route. Having courage in yourself, having courage in your decisions you make, and then having the perseverance to see that through and repeat that over and over, regardless of failure, non-stop, even if you see no results for years on years. And then the foresight, after repeating all of those years, the foresight to see new visions, make different changes and pivot. I believe those attributes are quite important for an entrepreneur. And I think those are probably basic attributes you need to get started, because then you can take courage to learn communication and such, you know. So courage, perseverance, and foresight, I'd say.
It's good.
That's cool. And just thinking on, you know, calculated risks and things like that, what role does intuition play?
That's interesting. I was actually talking about this with another good mate of mine. His name's Lou. He's the one of the owners of Fur Kitchen, just in Rewa and Otara. And we're talking about like whether or not intuition is actually your ability to recognize patterns over time. You know what I mean? Like you recognize so many patterns around you over a long period of time, repeatedly, that you start to gain a sense of intuition because you understand what's coming next, because you've seen so many patterns already. You know, it's like you see those patterns. Okay, I have a feeling of what's coming next. Essentially, that's intuition, right? I believe I've developed a good sense of intuition after 7. I'm going to call them failed businesses, but there were 7 lessons. So I was able to repeat failure over and over again, find the patterns, and then eventually build up my intuition. And I do take that into account when I make decisions. So
So cool, man. I like that, man.
at least, yeah.
Also, can we run it back in terms of like you're going to school? Oh no, you're living in the hood.
Yeah.
You go to school in Central in Ponsonby, and then you're visiting, you know, different side of Auckland, and so you're constantly doing that, and so you're in different circles, you're in different groups. Like, what are you seeing, and what's starting to? How's your worldview getting shaped, or what perspective are you seeing?
You know, the first perspective I saw, I was like, bro, what the? Can I swear on this? No.
Yeah.
I was like, what if people bloody drinking every Friday, Saturday, Sunday? You know what I mean? I was like, bro, I'm kind of. That was one thing I realized. I was like, man, I'm sick of the going out to town and the garage parties. You know, I was like, it wasn't cool to me anymore. That was one thing I realized. So I was sick of that. I was like annoyed that there's not even just our people. It's like an NZ culture to drink, which is amazing, right? It's amazing, you know, sharing a couple of beers. But to do that repeatedly from Monday to Friday and look forward to it on Saturday or Friday night is quite toxic, actually. And I think it's detrimental long term because it's like, if that's the only thing you're looking forward to in life, bro, you haven't lived life. You haven't even, there's so much, the world is expansive. There's so much out there to experience. There's more to life than just drinking on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever. So that was one thing I realized, going in that dynamic. And then also the lifestyle was different, like going from, Otara and then Ponsonby and then St. Heliers, Orake, Mission Bay, back to Otara. Just seeing that repeatedly, it's like, man, I want my family to live in a better environment, If not by leaving Otara and living somewhere else, then building Otara into neighborhoods like Ponsonby and St. Heliers. And those are some things I realized as well. Also, like the people around me. A lot of the people in not even just Otara, just like south, kind of like somewhat gatekeepers. But when I went to these areas in Ponsonby and like St. Heliers and that, they were just open, Yeah, cool, I'll connect you to so-and-so. It did nothing for them. They're just like, yeah, I'm happy with connecting. So I was like, I learned that that's essentially a part of networking. It's like connecting people. That's networking. So I learned that from Miles, from him, and that was interesting to see. Because usually, like, when I went to school, I went intermediate at Papatoy, and usually, like, oh, sorry, let me scratch that. Just in general, like in South, like you just gatekeep connections, which I found annoying all the time. But like you see these other people outside of our community just connecting people left and right. You know what I mean? Why can't we do the same?
Bro, do you think that is?
Bro, it's weird. Like NZ, not only do we have our own bubble of our culture in NZ, but also there's a culture of NZ on top of it. So like tall poppy syndrome, and then also like being humble in the Pacifica space. That plus tall poppy syndrome is a weird mashup because it affects a lot of people. That's also one thing that prevents a lot of people from taking risks as entrepreneurs, to even get into the business space. You know what I mean? You ever question yourself why there's so many clothing brands out there in Auckland, in NZ? Why a lot of our people are starting clothing brands? Because they saw the success of others in the clothing space. So like, oh yeah, if they can do it, then I can do it. But they're not willing to do anything else outside of clothing, because then they get pushback from our own people saying, like, what are you doing that for? Like, just work a job, or etc. So bringing it back to the point of, if we have more entrepreneurs in other spaces, podcast, food and beverage, tech, then more people will be more willing to take those paths, and the more of our people will see, okay, if that's doable, we need to shut our mouths then. We need to stop bringing people down, because there's obviously examples around us. The first movers, they did it. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, it's wait, didn't I answer your question?
Yeah. No, that's what I was wondering. What was, because you're in different contexts and different environments, and you would have seen stuff and would have opened your eyes to a different lifestyle, and you would have asked yourself questions. Like for me, it took me to go to uni to learn about systemic, institutionalized racism, or how the makeup of Auckland, how they made up Auckland, and how we got pushed into one side, and stuff like that. And it made me, something was happening inside me, and really shaped the way I moved. And then I got angry, and then I realized, and then, as you journey along, you're like, there's some battles I don't need to fight. Let me put my energy here. And so I was just really interested in terms of what you were seeing and your movements and how it shaped you.
I see all of those systematic problems that you talk about. And one thing for me is communication. So the reason why I'm able to articulate myself, even coming from Otara, And I speak like this, you know. You wouldn't even sometimes it's funny, like I speak to clients on the phone and they hear me, they're like, hi, because my first name is Morgan, actually. So I use that sometimes. And it was talking, and then we meet in person and they're like, oh, they're kind of like, you know, stumped because they're talking to like some other guy that's not Pacifico or such. And that's one thing I picked up through that dynamics. There's a different way we talk. It's amazing you guys articulate yourselves well, which is amazing. It's great. But it's not the case for all across South Auckland, you know that, right? That's not the case. It's we somewhat speak, usually our people usually speak like somewhat humble, way too humble in the way they articulate the words, and it comes off like not confident in the words as such. And that's one thing I was like, man, I need to change. So I needed to really develop my articulation, the way I speak, because then I can hold a conversation, I can speak words with clarity and conviction. And so coming into the business space, that's needed. So like, you know, these systematic problems that you're talking about, if you can speak well, then you can beat whoever else there is in the conversation, regardless if they're from like Ponsonby or whatever. You know what I mean? Cool. Because they won't be able to hold the conversation with you. You know, and also they wouldn't disrespect you in the conversation because they hear like, oh shit, this guy actually sounds like he knows his shit. He probably does knows his shit. So you know what? Let me give him some sort of psychological respect in my mind, and so we'll speak without any bias. You know, Jeez. That's how I'd get around those systematic problems. We just got to play the game.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
It's because it's interesting. You said like you were somewhat angry inside at the system, all these things. At 19, I had all those realizations, like all the realizations you guys could think about. I had that all at once at 19. I was like, man, the system that we're in. But I also realized, you know what? I got to be thankful for the system, you know, because without the system, it'll be Mad Max in the world. It'll be the Wild West. It'll be the Purge. You know what I mean? The movie. With the system, I'm able to live a somewhat comfortable life. I'm able to do these things. I don't need to go out and hunt and gather and stuff, you know. I don't need to worry that my sister's going to walk home from school. I trust that we have a police force out there. So there's these parts of the system that are pros, you know. And then in my head, I'm like, you know what? Okay, there's a lot of pros with the system that we have. I guess I just got to play the game. How do I play the game? I just need money. I need capital. Because the system was a European system, you know that, right? The way they play the game is through money, through debt, you know, equity. That's how they play the game. So if they can do it, then we can do it as well.
That's mean. I love that. Play the game, play it well, learn the rules, leverage it. Like I love that you mentioned, you know, there is funding out there, and like I know people sometimes complain about box ticking, but you know, there are opportunities there for our people specifically. We can tick boxes that no one else can, and if we can leverage that, that can help us, you know, find new perspectives or new ideas and like turn them into realities. That was one of the things that I leveraged to get my scholarship through university, because I was like, I'm not too proud to be like, yep, I'll be that brown tick box for you. You pay my tuition, I'll get out there and do what I need to do, and this is going to be my foundational leap pad to get to where I really want to go and explore the ideas that I need to. So I love that you touched on that a bit. It's really cool to have this conversation.
Of course, I can mention a couple of other organizations too later that people will find helpful. And
it's funny just hearing, like, you just inspired a question within myself, and I'll open it up to the boys, but it just made me think, like, you know, about that gatekeeping and with like networking. Like sometimes our people are real protective, and I think there's something there about wanting acknowledgement. And I don't know if that stems from, like, you know, surface level people think, you know, our people are so humble, like we're a humble people, and then it made me think, like, are we humble because we're used to it? Are we humble because we want to be? And it just made me think, is humility a sign of fear? Are we humble because we're afraid? And I'm not sure. I'm just opening it up.
You know what? Oh, you guys want to answer that first? Or?
No, you go, man.
I was just thinking, because you said, like, is humility and humbleness, does it come from fear? And I think it's interesting because I did have that thought a while back, and I was thinking, how is that instilled in us at a young age? Well, it comes from respecting our elders, right? Because if we don't, we fear we're going to get a hiding. So we have to be humble, you know. So perhaps it comes from that, like a young age of pre-programming and conditioning. That's where we developed it. Now, it's not a bad thing that we have this humbleness, you know, but it's also not a good thing. Like it's not really a great thing as well. So, I do think it comes from a sense of fear, perhaps.
That's me.
If you guys want to elaborate on that, yeah.
It's good. It's a good question also. I think there's a collaboration of a few things. I think obviously culture, the values, and then ownership. I think a lot of people, in terms of the example, in terms of people like, okay, I won't try my hardest because what if I don't make it? And so you kind of put yourself in, okay, I'm going to do my best because if I don't make it, at least they can't get, oh well, they said to you, hey, you didn't do your best. I said, oh no, because I didn't do my best. Yeah, I could do it. I could do the business. I could do whatever it is, but because I didn't give my best. And I think a lot of that stems from a lot of fear, but also a lot of a lack of ownership. And I think a lot of us need to take the courage to take ownership, and especially as men. And obviously, our culture plays a massive part in terms of humility. But I think more often now I'm seeing a lot of false humility now. You know, there's a lot of false humility. Oh, no, I can't. And a lot of the false humility, what I see, and just my own personal experience is that, and you bring a good point, because a lot of us are fearful that we won't achieve it. We can't achieve that goal. So we just played okay, I didn't give my best. That's why I didn't achieve it. But I could have. But because of that fear and we play it out as being humble. And so that's how I see it sometimes. Just my own personal experience, and I've been guilty of that myself. I won't do that because I don't want to. I'm afraid I might fail and so forth. And so that's how I see it. But it's sad. It's sad to see it as a people, but also as a nation, not just Pacific Islanders, that a lot of us are fearful, and more so as men. And so we play the humble card, just in case we don't make achieve the mark.
It's good. I got so many thoughts going through my head in terms of what we're discussing and just hearing past guests talk about humility, and especially with our culture. And I think, I don't know, I guess we got to redefine what humility looks like, because we, like you said, we often hide behind that the humbleness, or use it as a safety net. So when we don't want to pursue something, we hide behind, just being humble. But it's that false humility. And how do we achieve our goals but still be not a dick? But yeah, I don't know. I guess for me it's just defining what humility is to me, and then I'll be able to sort of build from that.
It's cool.
That's a good point, though, in terms of just understanding what humility means to you. I just think, I was trying to think of a term, and the only thing I could think of was like weaponized humility, but that's not really the right term. But like leveraging humility, and like you were saying, like I think there are some good bits and bad bits to being humble or having humility. I think one of the perks of having humility is that you can really see who's who. Like I find when I'm in a new situation, that's the best time to be humble. It's like, let's see who's who. Because people will reveal a lot about themselves when they think they're in a position of power. So I find it's useful to use humility as a listening tool and just figuring out the room. And then there's times when it's like, cool, now I can pause that and say what I need to say with that in mind, knowing that they're probably going to take it this certain way. But I don't know. That's what comes to mind when I think of like ways that you can, because there's always, you can leverage these things that are supposed to be negative, similar to how you're talking about the system. You know, there are ways that we can leverage it to make it work for us, as long as we're not dwelling on it too much and we're getting stuck in there chasing our tail, trying to find something that doesn't exist in our sphere.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
But I love it. I love the fact that you say that. You said early on, I think you said it several times, that I don't mean to brag. Because you're not bragging. Some people might take offense to that. Like, people are like, oh, when you say that. But the thing is, that in terms of, and you're just being yourself. I think this is where humility kind of where the rubber meets the road. You kind of like, okay, I don't mean to brag, but because you know yourself, you know who you are, you trust in your abilities, and so that's and for some folks, they will look at you like, oh man, this guy's a bit cookie, but you know who you are, and I think that's being humble. That is being humble. You're not arrogant. You know for certain, 100%, this is who I am as a person, my characteristics, and I know my abilities, and so this is why I can say this. And so, people might see otherwise, but and I thought, man, that's cool. I think that's cool to have that ability to say, hey, I'm not bragging because this is what I'm doing, and this is the outcome. Drink the Milie, all these other businesses, this is the outcome. I can say this because I've been in the trenches, I've done this, and this is why. And so that's cool, man. I like that. And I think more of us need to be that way. Okay, hey, this is, and without, like Charles was saying, without being a dick. Yeah. You just don't have to be a dick.
Why did you think you needed to use that disclaimer there?
It wasn't for you guys. It was for the people watching.
Okay, cool.
Oh. Yeah.
Do you think you'll get to a stage where you wouldn't need to? Because I wonder if that's part of the conditioning that
it's
that's a good point.
Well, because in my mind, I know that our people haven't tapped into all the potential there is yet. There isn't much business people out there from our backgrounds yet. So until that moment comes, then I'll keep saying like, I don't mean to be, I mean to brag, but such and such.
It's
so
a t-shirt. I didn't mean to brag, but dot.
I mean to brag. But I told you so.
No, that's cool. And I'm thinking about like just that whole conversation around like, our people, we always bring each other down, or this false humility. I wonder if that's because of part of the struggle we've had to protect, and to protect ourselves, or I don't know, giving out, or helping someone else, or trying to bring them down. We're just trying to protect. I don't know what's trying to protect, but I don't know. It's that whole.
I think it's perhaps it comes from like when our people see someone else that looks like them doing well, they're somehow losing out in their head. You know what I mean? Like, what this guy's doing better than me. I'm losing. You know what I mean? But in actuality, it's like you're not losing. You didn't lose at all. You don't even know them. First of all, yeah, they look like you. They come from the same background. You should be giving them props instead. But yeah, it comes back to the question. But like, why is that though? Why is that?
I had a thought on that too, because I think I definitely think that's part of it, and I think there's something there about like this like sense of justice, where like fairness and unfairness, and seeing someone do well and not work the same way that you've worked, not sweat and struggle the way that you've struggled, seems unfair. And it's like people gatekeep because they want you to suffer like they've suffered to get to whatever level of success. And I don't know, that was a thought that came to mind in terms of like gatekeeping and people, like the currency of hard work. Like, how do people value hard work? Do they think you're deserving, Yeah, I don't know.
One thing interesting I want to add to this conversation is that it's interesting that our people, the only time they support is when they see that it's actually doing well. That's the only time they hop on. It's like, oh yeah, like for example, like bringing it back to the 1-4 topic. There was a time where they weren't, the people, our people didn't like them or listen to them. Our people didn't even know who they were. You know what I mean? Neither the genre. But over time, once it became cool, once everyone else dived into it, that's when our people acknowledge and go, oh yeah, they're part of us. They're Samoan, they're Tongan, whatever. That's our people. Yeah, they're putting it on for us. But it was never there in the beginning. It's unfortunate we have that. But after having discussing this all, my question is, how do we solve that? How do we change that?
It's good.
How do we change that? Which is why I bring it back to more first movers. You guys are even changing the space as we speak. Probably 10 years time, people will look back like, the Mandate podcast, the team there was one of the factors in changing who I am. You know what I mean? I don't know. Perhaps in 10 years time, or 5 years.
Yeah, we don't need a break, guys.
F-18s.
The kids will be
Son gets to see me.
Good point. Good point.
Nah, that's cool. Yeah, how do we change? Do we celebrate more? Do we support more? Do we release a bit more trust? Do we stop being jealous?
Stop being local young.
Stop being local, young. We're all family, man.
Absolutely.
I think that expanding perspective, like you had that experience moving through different neighborhoods, like something like that, where it's like, I think there's so many of us that get stuck in the trenches, and like it's really hard to see outside of our current, like wherever we're at. But being able to get out of that and see different perspectives and not see it and, you know, and want for that, or like in a jealousy kind of way, or hate on it. Because, you know, I used to feel that way when I used to go through nice neighborhoods. I'd be like, bro, I hate this place, bro. This place is too nice. But now I'm like, you know, there's some really cool ideas, perspectives, and thinkers in those spaces. And I think sometimes you can't buy that. You can't pace, you can't handshake that from where you are. You literally have to move your legs and transport yourself to a new space and just soak it in. And if it means starting from the bottom somewhere else, like, man, what an adventure. And this is actually one of the things that I got from like my therapist was one of my biggest ambitions was like, I've still got ambitions for business and entrepreneurship, and it was for the purpose of like, I want to go on adventures. I want to go on adventures and not even be like, ooh, can we afford this, or do we have the time for this? I want to be like, we're going on an adventure because we want to, and that's it. And she mentioned something to me about like, you can go on adventures now. Like, sure, you're not as well off as you are now, but how many places have you explored in your backyard in Auckland?
Absolutely.
And it's like, holy crap, actually, there's a whole bunch of adventures right now that I can do. I don't need to wait until I'm cracking it and like going overseas. Like, start the adventures now. Get out of it and see what happens.
It's awesome.
Absolutely. It's my partner and I, we actually spoke about this, because not only did I watch a lot of animes and stuff, but I also played a lot of games. I think this also added to my development as a person, because I would dedicate so much time into leveling up my characters and such, right? Or whether it be like 2K or like COD or something, I'd level up my character so much and then like clock the game and then call it a day and then go downstairs and eat dinner or something and go back on the game. I realized I didn't even level up myself. If I was to die the next day, I'm dying at level 12 or something, you know what I mean? So I'm bringing it back to the geography of NZ, right? For me, my partner and I, we spoke about like how the layout of NZ is like a game map. I didn't even unlock the grey areas, you know. I just stayed in Auckland and Hamilton, you know what I mean? So I absolutely agree with experiencing your backyard before you go out across the world. It's because it's funny, like a lot of our people happen to save up a lot of money to go out on a trip for like a couple of weeks and then come back and then work hard and for the rest of the year. But they would simply do that on a budget and just experience their backyard. Unlock those little grey area maps and and experience the world outside of Auckland.
It's true. It's interesting. A lot of people save up money just to go overseas, and they've never been down south or up north.
Yeah, if you
We've been to Queenstown.
Yeah, if you go to Queenstown, it's just like, I don't know, like Sweden or something. It's like essentially the same. Alps and snow and nice houses. That's
good.
But I do want to touch on the system. Like, why is our people like this? I do believe that our system was created purposely, and it made minority groups like our people like this. It's the reason why it is. That's my opinion. And but it's how do we get more of our people to garner together and change that? I like to look at another group of people, the Jews, the Jewish people. They're brilliant at coming together and doing business. There's a reason why they're up in all these executive places, you know. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're a Jew? Oh, yeah, here's a loan, 0% interest. Dude, do your business, man. We'll support you somehow, connect you with so-and-so. So how do we replicate that in our people? We need more of that, man. We need more of that.
That's cool.
And it just reminded me of, I can't remember who said it. One of our previous guests had talked about this in terms of people that have come from overseas. And like, they've got family members that already own a business. It might be a dairy or a small shop, but they have learned enough to like help whoever's come in, and then they set up another one, their own branch. And that's why, you know, these people that have come from overseas are able to come in, start businesses, and yet our people who have been here way longer still struggling.
Exactly.
Well, you see it all around. You see with our Indian communities, our Asian communities, they come in, they all live in one house, and they all help each other in terms of businesses. They buy the next person their house, and then they kind of move on, and it just accumulates, and so they just keep going, and so as a collective. And so I think it's important for us as a people, as Pacific Islanders and Māoris, to be a collective, but a real collective, collaborate together and help each other. But you're right, it's sad. It's sad that often that's not the case. That we're kind of scraping for crumbs and looking for crumbs, and then going against each other. So I think one of the ways that we could help is just to have the talanoa, the conversation around why is there gatekeepers, why are people looking down at other folks who are doing some good stuff. And so I like it. You are the first mover in terms of this brand and this milk brand. And so props to you, man, Togo. Props to you, and we're very proud, man.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Coolest thing is you're just getting started.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
That's why I never let the success get in my head.
It's cool.
Good on you.
It's only the beginning. But I do plan to help. So I'm open to like anyone, even people watching. If you got a business idea, bro, just hit me up, man.
Yeah.
Even if it's especially if it's in the food and beverage industry, hit me up. Bro. We'll work on it. I'll help you, whatever. You know.
Yes, sauce me.
Yeah, what is it?
One of these things.
What? Yeah, well, whatever it is, bro. Like, I'll help.
Oh, well,
You know.
I think what I'll reach out for you is for youth programs, like young people that are wanting to explore the idea or expose them to the opportunity of, hey, you can do it, like, and there's and so, that's cool. Me network that you're already changing the game around networking, like making yourself available.
It's good.
So, shout also.
I'll be more than happy, bro. I'll be more than happy. It's again, I bring it back to I wish there was people,
Yeah.
you know, I could look towards, and if I can be that person for someone else, bro, great. Because I know I'll come back tenfold in our society.
Yeah.
You know, we'll create a better society.
That's cool.
You know.
Oh, he can help us start up our mandate triangle undies.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not. Oh, edible underwear.
Wait, yeah. What?
Sorry,
It's so
that's an idea,
Sorry,
man.
guys.
Does that count as food and beverage?
You wear.
Sorry.
Okay. It's sweet then. Laugh at my idea. Let's see what happens.
Humility, guys. Humility. Let's just give them props. No, but whatever the business idea is, bro. Like, doesn't need to be food. Just like any business idea, bro. Just
Cool,
hit me
man,
up.
for sure.
I'll do everything in my power to help out.
It's been a pleasure. It is. It's
That's
been
cool,
a
man.
pleasure, man. Man, I just just for me, just thank you so much. As young as you are, I'm always, like I said, it's just a beautiful thing to see is our young Pacifica and Māori men doing some and thriving, really thriving, not just surviving. You're doing some awesome stuff, obviously in the business realm. And I wish you all nothing but the best. You know, you're going to see no hate from us on the mandate team and at the table. Man, we got love for our guests, and then we just hope the best. And like Charles was saying, this is just the beginning. And so, bro, I can't wait to see you on that rich list of in terms of New Zealand.
You know, bro. That's actually one of my goals.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if I should say my goals out in the public, but that's one of my goals, bro. Well, one of my goals, I joke about it with Shane, and that, but it's become the India's richest man. Graham Hart, who was the
Graham Hart,
richest man, is taken over by Zuru, a couple of brothers from Cambridge.
Nick Marlborough, yeah. Those
And
brothers.
if they can do it, I believe I can do it. I hope it will inspire more people. And then, but I appreciate you and you guys inviting me on, and with this talanoa, it's amazing. And I hope this can inspire someone, one person at least, watching this, to take that risk, take that jump.
Nice.
You've inspired me, so.
Oh, of course.
And I just want to thank you, brother, for making this connection and having you on the table and just having a talanoa, and hopefully continue to connect, and all the best, bro. Honestly, excited for you, where the journey takes you, not only as an entrepreneur, but as a dad, as a partner, and and just someone in our community that's been that first mover. And yeah, I was so excited for you. So yeah, my Lord lover.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, honestly, so much wisdom, and you're definitely like, it's really clear the experience that's come from your particular journey, and I hope that people can take inspiration from where you've put yourself. Like, you haven't stayed comfortable; you've put yourself out there, and that's the risk we take. Like, that's the cost of growth, is putting yourself out there in situations that may be uncomfortable, that may be unfamiliar. And I love that you're just living that. So just as a first mover, man, just big ups to you. And you, honestly, I love that you love anime and video games. Like, I just think that's so cool. And it just made me think of, like, I haven't finished it yet, I'm not up to date, but just Solo Leveling. I've
read it.
Yeah.
Amazing, bro. You got to read the webtoon.
I'll get there. But just, reminded me of you and all these characters from, like, Hunter x Hunter, Demon Slayer, One Piece, Attack on Titan. I was just like, bro, there is so much inspiration in these stories that we are reading, are watching, and it's cool that you've been able to take inspiration from that. And weirdly enough, I can see part of that in your journey so far, in your demeanor, the way that you present yourself. So just going forward, all the best. Keep beating the world and being that guy. So yeah, appreciate you.
Thank you. No. I thank you all for those comments. These are heartfelt comments. I'm gonna go home and cry. I'm gonna go home and cry, bro. It's amazing. It's the anime. Are we wrapping up? I didn't want to go on too much, but we're wrapping up.
No.
I was just gonna say, like, the anime, like, just doesn't need to be anime. Any, like, entertainment or things that people watch, don't take it for granted. Like, actually learn something from it. You know, you can learn a lot of things from anywhere in the world, especially, like, the things you consume online and watch. And I just wanted to touch on that. But yeah, you need to read the whole webtoon, bro. On
Kill it for him.
Bro, he dies, bro. He dies.
Spoiler alert.
So he dies, bro. No, he does die, bro. But it's amazing, and I'd recommend that for anyone, everyone watching. You know, read some webtoons, watch some animes. It's great. It's amazing.
We try. I finished all of One Piece and Demon Slayer and 2P. But have you ever thought of getting into radio or voiceovers? You got a sexy voice, bro. Like, if I close my eyes, I'll go, oh shucks.
Hey.
Where's
Where's this podcast is going? Something happened.
Is that another anime? Is that
What's the podcast? What's going on? I've been invited to, bro.
This is our mandate.
That was a voice that Pete used to use on Hot Gossip for all you young ones.
Oh, what's this?
Google Hot Gossip, see what that is.
Oh man.
Old school last
back in the day.
So in every Samoan was Devontae and
Mr.
Jodeci. Sorry.
Man.
Anyway,
I haven't considered that, bro. It's this voice is kept for my partner, bro. This voice is kept for my partner. I'm sorry, other ladies. I'm sorry. No.
So there are other ladies.
Oh, come on.
Hey, it's been a good time, man. It's been a good time. No. It's baby, watch this. No. These guys are setting me up, bro. What the hell?
I'm not bragging, but
you guys all have lovely voices, well, bro. Handsome voices. Bro.
Stop lying. You're the first one to say that about my voice. If you go in the comment section, everyone's going, that guy is annoying. Fuck you. You do a podcast, say cat.
You try. Yeah,
now. I feel better.
There we go. There we go.
Yeah,
oh man,
feel good now. It's a good therapy session.
Yeah,
Thank
man,
you.
I appreciate it, man. Honestly, man, appreciate it, man. Just been an awesome night tonight and awesome talanoa. But look, we always have a gift. We always have a gift we always give a gift to our guest speakers. And bro, we got one for you. We always do a bit of a caricature, a sketch for how we envision you to be.
Oh wow, I'm excited.
All right, this is on behalf of the Mandate team, brother. That's for you. Look.
Let me see.
Oh man, thank you, man.
Wait, where did you guys get this photo from?
Bro, we were looking high and low, man. Just
That's what I'm laughing at, the fact that it looks like me, but like, cause like,
oh man, bro, I was looking for. I couldn't find a good photo, but I could only scramble that one. But look, man, thank you so much. Thank you for coming out tonight. Appreciate it, man. But bro, is there anyone that you could suggest for us in terms of who could be a good guest, ideal guest on the podcast?
I have two people I'd like to suggest. Shane from Something Dumpling. He also grew up himself. He's got an interesting story.
Cool.
And he's built his business to where it is, and he's got a great success story, as well as Lou from Folk Kitchen. He's also built his hospitality business as well, and he's from South as well.
Oh, mean.
So I think those would be two interesting perspectives to touch on. And I'm just still blown away.
Yeah. But
Thank you.
look, we always give our guests the last words of encouragement to the viewers and the listeners. Any last words, brother?
Wait, 21 questions you were saying? Did you want to do that? No?
We can do it after.
Okay.
Quick fire.
21 questions. Sorry. The words of encouragement, I would say, find your purpose in life. Find your purpose in life. Find your why, your reasoning. I say this all the time, but it's important because it helps you discover who you are. You can stay true to yourself if you remember your whys and your reasonings. Once you find your purpose and whys in life, then you'll be able to do anything you want in life. And don't constrain your goals or limit your goals to just something small or within the confines of NZ. Think worldwide. Think globally. So I'd say anything's achievable.
Please don't forget to like and subscribe, please. And also look forward to your well-thought-out comments as well. And as usual, brothers,
Refine.
Unlock and
Take charge.
Mandate.